What's going on, everybody? Spite here making my list debut, and today I'm going to talk to you about 7 of the worst beginner bikes that can be deceiving. Now you might be thinking, wait, we've already talked about some of the worst bikes that are fast or expensive or heavy, but this list is going to be 7 bikes that are a little bit more than just heavy or fast. They're bikes that entice beginners when in reality beginners should probably start on anything else. There's nothing wrong with these bikes unless you've never ridden before. Number 1 is the Kawasaki Ninja 1000. The bike has over a liter of displacement, but shouldn't be confused with other liter bikes. The Ninja 1000 is an inline 4 bike that kind of steals from the Ninja line in the 300, 400, and 650 cents. No, this isn't a ZX-10R race bike, but a commuter-friendly motorcycle with better ergonomics and street manners. The problem with this bike, though, is that it has an enticing price at $12,199 new, as opposed to the ZX-6R, which is over $9,999. Now wait, why would a beginner be flipped to this bike? The Ninja 650 is a formidable parallel twin with great ergonomics in a seating position and is only $7,399. To put things into better perspective, a beginner might want something more than the 300 or 400, but feel like the 650 isn't quite adequate. It becomes a battle of the bikes, and suddenly the noob is completely overwhelmed. It's a sport, and not a super sport, but it's still 1,043 cc's of inline 4 power, making 125 horsepower and 80 foot-pounds of torque. I'll be the one to say this probably is too much. Stick to the 650s and below if you're trying to learn, and then work out what you'd like from the next bike. By super sport leader bike standards, the 1000 is slow, with a top speed of only 153 miles per hour, but by noob standards, it's probably too much to handle. With a curb weight of 515 pounds, you don't want to try your newfound MSF skills on this thing. Are you stuck inside? Are you getting bored? Well, don't forget to trim those bushes. If you have a spouse, she's going to appreciate it if you start trimming things down there. But wait, Spite, I can't go outside. Manscaped has you covered, my dudes. Featuring the new Lawnmower 3.0 with skin-safe technology and a ceramic blade so you won't nick your sack, and a waterproof ergonomic design so you can trim wet or dry. Trim it all down with confidence, and rest assured the new Lawnmower 3.0 will be delivered to your door, so no need to evade the police just trying to cut down your pubes. If you want to give your balls the best, get a hold of the Perfect Package 3.0, which comes with not only the trimmer, but the Crop Preserver deodorant, Crop Reviver spray, and 2 free gifts: the Manscaped boxers and the Shed luxury travel bag to store everything. Use the code Yammie20 at checkout to save 20% on your order, and oh yeah, shipping is free! Number 2, the Honda Africa Twin DCT. Up next is a unique kind of a bike. It's an ADV bike that more than a couple beginners have found in their Google searches. It's an Africa Twin with a DCT automatic transmission. There is someone out there interested in bikes that Googled automatic motorcycles and saw this bike as an option. With a seat height of 30.4 inches, a wet weight of 501 pounds, and a 1084cc parallel twin engine, this thing is probably too much for the beginner, especially the one that's desperately trying to find an automatic. If you're new to bikes and you really want one, my advice is to simply take the MSF course. If you tried riding a friend's bike for 15 feet in a parking lot and it ended in a drop and you didn't like it, don't sweat it. The basic rider course has people who didn't even drive manual transmission cars shifting gears on a motorcycle in under 4 hours. All it takes is a little bit of patience and practice. Trying to find a bike that fits your fears and comforts as opposed to one that fits you spells disaster. Get out there and get in the MSF course with a positive attitude, and the instructors will help you overcome your fears of a manual transmission and get you going in no time. Trust me, you'll be thankful when you sit on something smaller and more agile and decide you just can't fit on the giant Africa Twin. Along with its displacement and the automatic transmission, the bike produces 100 horsepower and 77 foot-pounds of torque, and has an MSRP of $14,399. I won't even go into how hard it's going to be to deal with transmission issues on this bike either. Stick to a manual and you'll thank me when you do. Now number 3 is going to hit me where I live, and it's the Harley-Davidson Softail Standard. If you want the cruiser life, then don't flame me for this next one. The Harley-Davidson Softail Standard is a ready-to-be customized kind of cruiser, but it comes with some drawbacks, making the bike for the experienced rider and not beginners. The 107 cubic inch 1746cc V-twin engine produces a whopping 101 foot-pounds of torque. It has a dry weight of 628 pounds, and man, that is heavy. Although it may seem easy to cruise around on, when it comes to anything at slow speed, you're really gonna feel that weight. I don't want to knock cruisers, I really don't. I just want you to find the bike that's right for you. It might even feel a little embarrassing for someone with a Harley-Davidson only kind of family to start on something smaller like the Honda Rebel, but it'll be your safest option. The Rebel 300 weighs 370 pounds, and the 500 weighs a little over 400. Now, which would you rather pick up? The Softail Standard also starts at $13,599, making it the cost of leader bikes from the Big Four, which probably isn't your cheapest option either. The Rebel 500 is $6,499 brand new, so think about it. Number 4, electric motorcycles. The next bike in our list falls into an entire category by itself, the electric motorcycle. I have nothing against them, seriously, electric bikes are great. The instant torque, the Karen-friendly soundtrack it generates at 2 in the morning, they're awesome. What I don't like, especially for beginners, is the whole concept of limited range and charging. If it isn't bad enough that you're trying to learn how to ride and keep your bike from tipping over, adding the need to charge it and limiting its range for the day might become really frustrating. As a beginner, there's no better feeling than pulling your helmet over your head and getting ready to ride. Whether it's an abandoned parking lot, a ride through the country, or even your morning commute, you're gonna get butterflies about riding. Oh, but you forgot to charge your bike this morning, didn't you? Sorry, man, not today. That would literally be the worst feeling in the world, and it's the same as a gasoline-powered bike with a dead battery or no fuel, or maybe a bigger issue. But on gas bikes, well, we just tend to know how to get them going quickly. For an electric that's out of charge, you're just gonna have to wait a while. For this reason, your first bike should not be an electric. Get a gas-powered bike, and then when you're ready, head over to the electrics. You're gonna want to ride for endless periods of time, so you might as well make it easy just by putting gas into it. Now, number 5 is project bikes. All right, I get it. I know you know your way around the shop, and you're really good at working on cars, and you keep seeing these bikes online for super cheap. You can buy a bike without a title for $2,000, buy a new titled frame for $700, and for under $3,000 have a running near mint bike. Now, wait a minute, slow down. That's only a good plan in theory. When you're a beginner, you need to get a bike that's in one piece first. Project bikes can be an absolute hassle, and if your bike is on stands more than you ride it, well, you're not gaining any riding experience from it, are you? Save the cafe racers, salvaged builds, and other custom projects for a later time. Buy them as your second bike so you can wrench away on it and you still have something you can go relieve your stress on. Trust me, when you start tinkering with bikes, especially bigger projects, you're gonna wish sometimes that you could just get rid of it. Alleviate that issue by having another bike ready to ride. Clear your head, then come back to the project. If your only bike is a project bike, you may not make it far, not riding it, not repairing it, and, well, not anywhere. It's a hard fact that some projects just won't be completed, so don't let that be your first bike. I'm not trying to discourage you from buying a motorcycle that's had a drop or two and cracked fairings and some scuffed handlebar ends, but I am telling you not to get into something that's going to consume most of your time that you could have spent riding and most of your money that you could have spent on gear and mods. Just think about it. Now, number 6 is the Honda Grom and other 125cc bikes. While they may look cute and be a blast to ride, the Grom and the entire 125cc class of bikes is not what anyone should be starting on. Maybe you're only riding on private property and then it's okay to get the basics down, but if you're going on public roadways, then it's really not the best idea for every rider. Groms and other 125cc's lack a lot of essential features that new riders need on their first bikes. They lack power, torque, the ability to go highway speeds. The Grom has only 9.7 horsepower. Not even 10, and it only has a top speed of 63 miles per hour depending on the rider. Could you imagine me on a Grom going highway speeds? For other 125cc bikes, the story's the same, but the manufacturers just aren't as well known as Honda. There's been a recent emergence of Amazon and eBay street legal bikes that sell for roughly $1,000. Yeah, that's right, they're out there. These bikes are all in the 125cc class and are by no means anything to brag about, ride above 45 miles an hour on, or even feel comfortable in traffic. When you compare an R3 to the Grom, the R3 is going to be able to maintain highway speeds, has more weight than the Grom, and is a lot sturdier of a bike in traffic. Although the Grom may be an enticing little gimmick, it shouldn't be anybody's first bike. It's too slow to be safe, too small to be noticed at times, and really is the most fun in the hands of an experienced rider. If you have one, good on you. It's probably the best way to understand and develop basic riding skills in an off-road or parking lot environment. Number 7, bikes with tech. Last on our list are bikes with too much technology. These bikes are typically in the leader bike class or medium to high price ranges, but why shouldn't you start on one? Well, aside from the displacement, fancy new bikes with all these new forms of rider aids and controls can be too much for the beginner rider. Do you really want a bike with traction and wheelie control? How about adjustable suspension? Does any of that really help you stop from stalling every time you ride? No. The focus of your first bike should just be to ride, plain and simple. Learn to manipulate and control your clutch, brakes, and yes, learn that proper throttle control. As a side note, Yammie would like to remind you to read and watch A Twist of the Wrist. He says here that he's met Keith Code and learned from the master himself. Get yourself a copy and watch it. Take into consideration the actors are just trying to get by, but the riding lessons and footage of riding is where the gold really is. Now don't get a bike that overwhelms you every time you start it up. Is it in rain mode? Is it in race mode? Is wheelie control on or off? Is the Bluetooth connected? No, you don't need any of that. Having anything more than a couple of riding modes for bad weather or reduced power is probably going to be too much. Your main focus is riding safely and not to drop or stall the bike. When the time comes and you're comfortable with other things like mid-corner ABS and quick shifters, then by all means get yourself to a dealership and pick up your dream bike. For now though, you should just focus on becoming a better rider. If you start on a bike with too much tech, how will you fare on a bike without it? Food for thought. So that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys didn't rush out in the middle of all of this quarantine business and go get one of these bikes. Instead, take some time to really consider what will be the best for you. And yes, you in the comments, the answer is always a Turbo Busa. Thank you guys for all of the support and subs. If you haven't hit that button, now's the time to do it. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Fact. Although digital storage is now readily available in gigabytes on phones and other devices, the human brain can hold 2,500 terabytes of data, or 2.5 million gigabytes. Goodbye.